for?
There's a good list of a bunch of different projects that have been requested. Many of these projects not even costing us a penny, but a bunch of different projects, a bunch of different situations that were brought up back when we first started the board of directors of this year. And a lot of those projects were originally acknowledged. Thank you very much. They're there, park them aside, and they've continued to move on with a lot of the projects and a lot of the stuff that they're doing. One example is this tennis courts. As of about 2 months ago, I have specifically and directly requested a meeting for the community, a community workshop, to discuss the financial implications of the courts, the final specifications of the courts. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of discussion going on as to what exactly is going on with the courts. They refuse to hold the meeting. I've asked probably more than 10 times in writing, in email, requesting for a meeting, and finally this past week was advised, even though I specifically asked for the meeting to be held prior to any final certificate of occupancy or any final certificates being issued, they went ahead and Mr. Park advised that we'll wait until after the final COs are given before we have a community workshop or a community discussion on the tennis courts. In other words, once we have no further recourse and once we've paid out our last penny, then we'll have a community workshop so that you guys are residents and we can pitch in and say what we agree with, disagree with, and what's going on with those courts. So just one small example of a continued dismissal of us three as board members, when specifically what we're looking for is to just have some transparency on the board. We finally received, as I mentioned to Kevin a few minutes ago, the management package. We request the management package, which is what we have to read through prior to each board of directors meetings. I specifically read each and every single one, every single page of it. I will receive that management packet for Tuesday's board meeting on Sunday afternoon. It's 343 pages. I will attempt to read some of it for Tuesday, but within there specifically, there's projects that are going on within November that are not projects that we had originally agreed upon from the beginning as a board of directors, and that they clearly state that they have circulated an email to board members to get board member opinion, just like they did for the clubhouse, for the renovations of the clubhouse. I already asked them to please refrain from stating that they've circulated information to the board of directors when they in fact have not. Jaime hasn't received it, I haven't received it, Marcelo hasn't received it, which is again another example of where they only circulate information amongst the executive board, as they like to call themselves, and everything else gets left out. So we've got a list of, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15 different items that we continuously request to be added to the agenda so that we can finalize those projects before we move on to new ones. The modus operandi, and Steve, you may be able to pitch in on this one as a former board member here with this group, is that they will have projects going on, and before they finish one, they start adding on the next, and the next, and the next, to continuously keep something going on without finalizing and finishing it. Management has complained various times, although they won't do it publicly, that unfortunately that takes up a lot of their time, and there's a lot of confusion going on with that. But in fin, lots of stuff that is being done under the table, behind the scenes, in our best interest, and not to the total transparency of the community. So this is what we're trying to highlight and say enough is enough already. Let's get stuff on top of the table. Let's have the community input, the community knowledgeable as to what's going on, and let's do things transparently and in a financially responsible manner.
Are you saying that they're doing projects that, and are they allocating money for it? And
so
there's nothing in the board minutes?
The newest one now is that there's a committee being set up for the renovation of the clubhouse.
Right.
There was a project set aside for some tot lot somewhere on the grounds that I'm not quite sure where it is. Could possibly be behind the tennis courts or whatnot, that they want to replace some of the equipment there. That specifically is the line item in this recent management package that was stated that they circulated information to the board, which they have not done. They did it to the executive board. They got their opinion.
Are they doing projects that they haven't
They're
approved
intending
the
to
money?
continue starting projects.
But they
Right now, there's no new project on the table other than the tennis courts going on, the refurbishment or the maintenance of the